Good morning, everyone. I'm going to talk here a few minutes about the school shootings and the various legislation that has passed. I know there's some legislation that just passed in Florida due to the shooting at Douglas High School down there, where 17 people got killed. There was a gun law that passed, but it also, in that law, it gave teachers the right to carry arms, concealed weapons in schools. I've said all along, and I'm going to repeat this morning, that it's not about guns at all. It's not about mental health. What it's really about is school security. A high school is a very small building with some sub-buildings, like maybe a lab where they teach classes like welding and automobile mechanics, and also they may have a greenhouse and some other associated buildings, but they're all located in one generalized place. And most of the shootings that occur are at high schools. There are a few that occur at colleges, but most of the school shootings occur at high schools, and most of them occur due to disturbed young adolescent males. Once these males get into college and grow beyond a certain age, then that behavior, homicidal behavior, tends to somewhat go away, or they've learned to deal with it. Now, there was a school shooting at Virginia Tech where you had a young male, and he was not a senior. He was just starting at Tech, or within his first year or two, and he killed a lot of students. Now, the problem with a college or a university is that they have a lot of buildings and they are spread over a large area. And there are some problems at colleges and universities, but they're generally, most of the school shootings are at high schools, and they're due to young adolescent males who have problems. What you need is school security and school safety, and it's very easy to implement school security and school safety. You can use the students to help build fences and help build barricades around the school. You can also use the students and the teachers to secure checkpoints that anybody coming onto the high school campus has to go through. Even at football games, you can check vehicles coming in, or you can check the gates when people walk through. You can have students and teachers at the gates. So it's very easy to have good school security. And I think having teachers with concealed weapons who are trained on high school campuses is really a good idea. And I think all these people hollering about assault weapons and mental health, those are issues. Yes, I don't have any question about those being issues, but even though those are issues, if you've got good school security and good safety measures in place, such as classroom doors that you can lock from the inside, and fire alarms that have checks on them to make sure there is actually a fire before you send the students outside to have them shot by some distraught student that's got a grudge against the school. One of the things that I really have a problem with the school shooting that recently happened in Florida is the student had been expelled from school. So how does a student that has been expelled from school walk right back onto school grounds without being challenged? And not only does he walk right back onto school grounds without being challenged, he actually goes into the school building, comes back out, and then goes into it again. If there was good school security measures, then he wouldn't have been able to get on school grounds. So you need checkpoints for vehicles and people walking into the school. They need to go through checkpoints, and those checkpoints need to be manned by students and teachers. And you can easily set up a system where students can have passes, and you have automatic gates, and they'll have to have a pass to get through the gate. I mean, some of these systems, security systems, are really expensive, but some of them can be implemented very, very cheaply. So, and also that young student that had been expelled, he was able to come onto school grounds and come into the building without being challenged or checked. And also he was able to bring a weapon onto school grounds into the building and then come back out and then go back into the building without being challenged. That just, to me, that tells me that the school security that was in place at that school was almost non-existent. Now, whose fault is that? That's the fault of the school district. That's the fault of the school. That's the fault of the principal. That's the fault of the local county administration, the school superintendents, and also the local sheriff department. So my message to the people in Florida at this school shooting, and also other school shootings around the nation: you need to sue the hell out of these people if you've lost a child or one of your children has been shot or traumatized due to these school shootings. You need to sue the hell out of these people. You need to take them to the cleaners. That's the only way these schools are ever going to get the message to improve their security. And if you don't do this, if people don't start saying, hey, it's not the guns, it's not mental health, it's school security. If you don't do this, then there's eventually going to be another school shooting, and then there's going to be another and another and another. And one of these days, there's going to be one where you got 100 or more that's killed. And once again, I'm saying it's the school's fault, it's the superintendent's fault, it's the principal's fault, it's the school district fault, it's the sheriff's department's fault, it's the county's fault. A lot of you go to work for government agencies. You go inside of a government building, there's big blockades in front of that building. You can't drive a vehicle into the building. You have badges. You have to go through checkpoints. There are armed guards manning these checkpoints. You just can't walk into these buildings. But yet you're sending your children to school where anybody can just walk into the school at any time without being challenged, without being checked. So a lot of you parents are working in workplaces that are a lot more secure than where you're sending your children to school at. So you parents also, you not only need to sue the hell out of these people, if you had a child traumatized or shot by a school, at a school shooting. You also, you parents need to go to PTA meetings and council meetings of the county, and you need to tell these people, we need to have good school security. We need to implement some programs that's going to improve the security. And no student who's been expelled should ever be able to walk right back onto campus or onto school grounds or into school buildings without being challenged. And certainly no one should be able to bring a weapon onto school grounds. Now let me say one thing about assault weapons. Assault weapons really, if I think a lot of people that had much intelligence, if they wanted to take out a lot of people or do some sort of mass shooting, an assault weapon would not necessarily be my weapon of choice. I mean, you have automatic pistols that are much easier to conceal, that shoot a lot of rounds. The clips can be changed out very, very quickly. So assault weapons is not the only gun that can do a lot of damage, and certainly they would not be my choice because they're so bulky and so hard to conceal. So it's not just one type of gun. I mean, there are other types of weapons, and certainly guns, if you really want to get right down to it, are weapons that do minimal damage compared to some other things that are a lot more deadly and can take out a lot more people. Look at the Twin Towers, 9/11 up in New York. Thousands of people got taken out by a couple of airplanes loaded down with fuel, with jet fuel. And billions of dollars of real estate got destroyed by airplanes with several hundred gallons or more of jet fuel on board. So if you really want to get right down to it, guns are a weapon that are not anywhere near as lethal as some other things that could be employed to do a lot of damage. So in order to prevent all this from happening, you need good school security. And it's something that it's a social problem. We're going to have to work on it. We're going to have to continue to work on it. And until school security is fixed at all these schools throughout the country, we're going to still have school shootings. And they're going to continue. And they're going to hit schools. But if good school security measures are implemented, then it's going to be able to prevent a lot of these school shootings. So, thanks. I hope you folks have a nice day, and if you like my videos, please subscribe. I'll be posting more in the future. You folks have a nice day, and we'll be talking to you sometime in the future. Thanks.